This is the handover for your new WildAx Solaris XL. We'll start on the outside of the vehicle and then we'll pop inside when we get round to the habitation door. So starting on the driver's side of the vehicle, just next to the driver's door, you'll see the LPG point for the refillable underslung gas tank. Carrying on along the side of the vehicle, next is the flue for the boiler, and below there you'll find the freshwater and wastewater drain taps. Freshwater fill point is here and is unlocked with a key that you'll find on the fob. Moving around to the rear of the vehicle, there is the electric hookup point. And around the rear of the vehicle, underneath the high level brake light, is the reversing camera. And also on the bumpers at the bottom are the reversing sensors. Slung underneath the vehicle is the spare tyre. The spare tyre is released just behind the rear wheel. You can see the point there. There is an adapter on the wheel brace that will stretch through to the back and allow you to drop the spare wheel down. In the rear of the van, you'll find stored the awning handle for winding the awning out, access to the rear toilet's cassette. The cassette is released by lifting up the green tab here and pulling the cassette out. There is water in the cassette, but that's purely from the testing of the systems as part of your pre-delivery dispatch. From the rear of the vehicle, you can also see and access the two rear bunk beds. There is an access hatch as well, which gives access into the bathroom. But we'll see that when we're inside the vehicle. Make sure both locks are in place before setting off. Carrying round the exterior of the vehicle, we come to the external gas barbecue point. This is the adapter. You attach that onto the hose of your gas barbecue, and above the vehicle you see the awning rail and the point where the winder is engaged to the awning rail. Not part of the central locking system, the flap for the fuel. The fuel cap is operated with the Fiat key, and AdBlue is added whenever the warning light comes up on the dashboard. When the first warning light comes on, you have in the region of 1,000 to 1,200 miles to top up the AdBlue. When the next AdBlue warning light comes on, you then have usually about 200 to 300 miles. And if you don't top up after that, the vehicle will go into limp mode until you add more AdBlue. On the passenger side of the cab, you'll find stored underneath the vehicle the toolbox. Underneath the carpet of the vehicle is the access hatch to the vehicle battery. And on the side of the dashboard is the lever to operate the bonnet release catch. The second release for the bonnet is found at the front. You just slip your finger underneath the bonnet after you've done the initial release. Bonnet stay holds it in place safely while you access. The only thing you should really need on a brand new vehicle is to refill the screen washer bottle here. If you do have to top up coolant or brake fluid at any point in the future, then you simply undo these three little catches. This section of trim will lift away, and then after you've done that, you can now access those two reservoirs. If you ever have to top up with oil, there's the oil filler point there. Now, the vehicle battery, as we said earlier on, is stored underneath the passenger footwell. If you ever have to do a jump start, there are remote battery posts. You'll see the negative post is here. The positive post is released using the Fiat key from this small area in here. Just pop the key in there and it releases that flap. Lift the flap, and below there you can see a paddle that you attach the crocodile clip from the positive side of your jump start pack. The habitation area is entered through the side sliding door of the vehicle. After you've opened the side door, you'll find on the first of the rear forward facing seats the button that controls the electric step. Entering into the vehicle, you'll also see on the side of that step a lever that releases the mechanism that allows the seat to slide forward. At the moment, this second seat has been slid forward into the couch position. There is stored in the rear of the vehicle a further cushion that goes along the back wall to form the couch. To form the double bed, you slide this section forward as well. The bolster from the rear of the couch goes into the middle and lies along these two wooden ledges, and also a metallic frame that bridges the gap between here on this seat and a similar point on this seat when it's slung forward. The finished bed area looks like this. The metallic section that supports the bolster is stored, it's wrapped in bubble wrap at the moment, above the bed. Now, just inside the door of the vehicle, there are a couple of switches and control panels. This one here houses interior light switches. This is the heater tanks. Don't switch this on if there's no water in the tanks, otherwise it can burn out the element. And the 12 volt power socket and aerial socket from the omnidirectional roof aerial that's fitted to the vehicle, and alongside that is the carbon monoxide alarm. At the front of the vehicle we find the main control panel. On-off switch brings the control panel to life. This switch is the master for the 12 volt systems. You'll see all the lights have come on. If I press this 12 volt switch, the lights go off. So that's power again. This is the switch for the exterior awning light. This is the switch to power on the water pump. Get into the habit of only switching the water pump on demand when required. If you have no water in your tanks, you're best to not have the water pump on, because it will burn itself out. Because the first thing it tries to do when you switch on the water pump is it tries to fill your boiler with water so that you can then have hot water. Coming along the bottom here, you can program your central heating to come on a timer, and the manual will explain exactly how that's done. There is the button to press to give you indicators of water levels. There is plenty of water in the freshwater tank at the moment for demonstration purposes. Battery life, this is the habitation battery, that's the vehicle battery, and then back up into the top there is a dimmer switch where you can adjust the brightness of the LED screen, and you can also change the colour of it as well. That's all explained in the user manual. So this is the Truma control panel, which you switch on by pressing the home button. Once the 6 squares have been illuminated, you are now in a position to start switching on the various functions controlled by the boiler. So we'll start with room climate. Central heating, in other words. Do we want to heat or do we want to ventilate? If we go to ventilation, we can then use the blower system that normally would circulate the warm air when you're using it as heating, and it will move air around the cabin. It is not air conditioning. All it does is circulate air, which can help on a warm day. Back button takes us back to our main controls. So back into the room climate, and we'll go to heating this time. Let's set your desired temperature, 25 degrees. Now, comfort and fast. Fast will get there, as the name suggests, quicker, but it will get there at the expenditure of other functions. So if you've got the hot water on and you've got the heating on, but you want the heating to heat up fast, by pressing the fast button, the hot water will not heat up, but your room will get up to temperature quicker. Once your room's up to temperature, the hot water will then come back in again. Let's leave it on comfort. Choice of fuel. It's a combination boiler, diesel and electric. If you're on site and you're plugged in, there's no point in wasting fuel, so switch diesel off and run on electric. You have a choice of 900 watts and 1800 watts capacity. 900, you'll only ever have to use that if you're on an older campsite that's not giving you a good current, good ampage at your plug-in point, or if there's a lot of vehicles plugged into a single point. You can also switch electric off, but that will automatically switch on the diesel. So we'll put diesel off, we'll put electric on, and we'll have the heater going, and the van will be nice and warm when you come to collect her. And back button takes you back to the main screen. Right, so that's the room climate. Well, it's not too cold today, we don't need it on, so we'll switch it off with the off button up here. Heating is now off. There's no green line at the top to indicate the heating's working. Hot water. Again, simply turn it on, choose energy source, diesel off, fuel exactly the same with the heating. Let's go back and select your temperature. 40 degrees, more than warm enough to do your dishes. 60 degrees, that's the temperature if you want to have a shower. If you want faster heating, now at the moment there's a button here that says faster heating, similar to the room heating. If you press that, it will heat your hot water at the expense, using energy at the expense of the other functions, i.e. heating the room. Now we switch the room heating off, so that is greyed out. But for demonstration purposes, if I go back to the home screen, go back into the room climate, switch the heating on, back to the home screen, into the hot water, it's now illuminated, and I can select faster heating for 40 minutes. During that time, the room heating will not function. It'll just be the water that's been heated up. Let's take that off. Energy source I've already explained. Not wanting to heat the water just now, so I'll switch it off, and you see the green band from the top is gone. I'll come to here, I'll switch off. Room climate is off as well. If you install the iNet app on your phone using Bluetooth, you will get an app and you can do everything that we've done today on your phone. Save you standing up and pressing the buttons here. Notifications, if you ever have an error code, you will get a marker here telling you have a notification. You open the notification, read the notification, and it will give you instructions on what to do. On-off button, we'll come to that in just a moment, and in the settings, you can set your date and time. In general settings, you can change it from 24-hour clock to 12-hour clock, degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit, the operating language from English to a host of different languages. Everything's been preset for you to be in English and in centigrade, but if you want to change it, and 24-hour clock, if you want to change any of that, please feel free to do so. So going back to the home screen, everything is missing its green lines at the top, so you know that everything is off. You can safely press off, and you get a choice of standby or switching off completely. Switch off completely, the home button will wake it up again, and that's your Truma control panel. Very easy to operate, and it's the latest model and the latest version. The cooker and the grill and the oven are self-explanatory really. You press and turn the knob until gas comes through. Keep the button pressed in for a few seconds till the thermocouple heats up, and then you can switch off. And all the hobs work in exactly the same way. Now, you do get on some vehicles an automatic shut off on the lid of the cooker. This cooker doesn't have that function, so it's very important that you keep the lid up when you're cooking. When you close the lid over on top of the cooking surface, this is toughened glass and it will shatter like a windscreen. It won't cut you because it shatters into small hexagonal shapes, but it will make an awful mess and goes off with quite a bang. So please follow this instruction carefully. Do not close this while there is a flame. And similarly, when you've finished cooking, make sure the flame is out before you drop the cooker lid down. When you first put water into the freshwater tank, the first thing you must do after you've filled it up is switch on the pump at the control panel at the front, which we showed you earlier in the video. Once that's switched on, you'll hear the pump run. It'll fill the boiler. To check that the boiler is fully charged, after the pump has stopped running, come to the kitchen tap or the bathroom tap and open it and turn the dial round till it's hot. Continue to let the water flow until no more air is escaping. We've already filled and charged this boiler for testing purposes, so we're not seeing anything here. But the hot water should run uninterrupted like the cold water. When that happens, you know that the boiler has been fully charged. With a charged boiler, you can then switch on the system to heat the water, whether it be by gas or electric. Once you've got the master 12-volt switch on at the front of the vehicle and the main panel switched on as well, obviously main panel on, then the 12-volt button, all the lights will operate. Now, the lights all have independent switches. The reading lights have a little touch switch, and the first position brings on like an ambient mood light. Second switch brings on the reading light or the spotlight. There are main switches here for overhead lights. And reading lights in the sleeping area as well as overhead lights. And these are found in the lower and upper bunks. In the bathroom area, there is no light switches. The light switches are outside of the bathroom, as you would expect, so that you're not touching things with wet fingers. In fact, it's up here above the door. In the bathroom itself, the toilet has a swivel lid. Turns through 90 degrees, much easier to do with two hands, and then that gives you leg room when you wish to use the toilet. While this is up, I can show you the flush point. So to flush the toilet, you simply press this button. The water is drawn from the freshwater tank and it will clear the bowl. To operate the toilet, first open the slider at the side here. This opens the valve into the cassette below. After you have used the bowl, press the flush button and continue to hold. For as long as you hold the flush button, water will run to rinse the bowl. Release the button, it stops running, and in the background you can hear the water pump coming in to recharge the boiler. And then over here there are some further buttons. This well, not button, they're LED warning lights really. This one indicates that your cassette has been removed, that there's no cassette below you. This one indicates that there is no water for flushing. This one indicates that the cassette is half full, and this one indicates that the cassette is completely full. This one obviously will not light up because your water reservoir is the main freshwater tank. And that is the tap for the shower, and that is the tap for the vanity unit. Your vehicle comes with a 3-way Thetford fridge. To power the fridge on in the first instance, press the power button until the whole display lights up. At the moment it's operating on gas. It operates on 230 volts, 12 volts and gas, hence the 3-way fridge. This button will toggle you between your fuel sources. If we go to automatic, it will automatically select the most reliable fuel source, which at this moment is gas. The ignition isn't on, the engine is not running, we're not plugged into mains. If I manually select 240 volts, we get an error code and a warning sign of everything flashing. Similarly, if I selected battery, because the engine isn't running, we'll get a similar code. If I go to gas, everything settles down. If we go to auto, it will quite happily switch between all the different fuel sources. To set the thermostat, use this button here. The more squares that are illuminated, the colder the fridge. Single button there indicates defrost. It's not an automatic defrost fridge, and if you ice up, you will have to defrost it, and you do so using that button. If you do get an error code, screen goes to sleep, but you still get a little blue light there to tell you the fridge is on, so just touch that and it will bring your screen back up. So if you do get an error code here, if I'd selected a fuel source that wasn't available, to cancel the error code you would just press that button there. To switch off, press and hold until the screen goes blank. The boiler of your motorhome is located underneath the right hand side rear passenger seat. Now you shouldn't have to go anywhere near this boiler in the normal course of operations. However, when the time comes to do a full winter drain down, you'll have to open that valve down there, that little yellow valve. At the moment it's in the closed position, but if you flick it upwards, you can hear the water escaping from the boiler, and that's the boiler draining down. A full winter drain down consists of opening the exterior taps to drain both the grey and the freshwater tanks, opening of this tap to drain the boiler, and once all the water is run out, you switch on the water pump on this control panel and you open up a tap. This will get rid of the last of the water that's in the pipes. Once the last of the water has run out from the tap, switch off the water pump at the front panel, but leave a tap open. This will ensure that your system is not a closed system, and if there is any residual water in the system, it will freeze along a pipe, not causing any damage. If the taps are all closed, the system is sealed, and if there is a freeze and some residual water freezes, after it meets the air pressure from the closed system, the water will expand sideways, and then come the following spring, you'll discover that you have a leak. Your Solaris is based on the Fiat Ducato. This is the newest version of the Fiat Ducato. It comes with a new sports style steering wheel with steering wheel controls for your media unit. Stocks on the right hand side of the steering wheel are for your wipers and washers. On your left hand side, the stock is for the lights, so it's indicator and dip beam. It's an automatic gearbox, 9-speed, fully automatic, and state-of-the-art media system, all supplied as standard. Instruction manuals for everything to do with the media system were supplied with the vehicle. When you select reverse, you will automatically get the rear view camera firing up, and you will see the image of exactly what's behind you there. To the right of the steering wheel, you'll find the gauge for the underslung LPG tank. The gauge only operates when the ignition is running, so when you start the engine, it'll slowly climb up. It takes a little while to register. I'll see if I can demonstrate now. Switch everything off. We've got no green lights. Start the engine, and it slowly climbs there, you can see, up until it reaches high. Well, there we go. There it is. Moving across to the media unit, just to demonstrate, select and reverse on the gear lever, and we get the reversing camera kicking into gear. This model comes with built-in cab screens. To release the windscreen, pinch these two buttons together. That releases the screen, which will come to the halfway stage. Release the screen on the other side, bring it to the middle. There is a magnetic strip down the leading edge of the screen, which will keep the two halves of the screen together in the centre to blank out your windscreen. On driver and passenger door, it's a similar arrangement. Pinch and pull out. Be gentle. The screens run along two rails and then lock in place again with magnets. And to put them back, slide back. It's best to use two hands for this procedure. Click them into place, and if you look down there, you'll see the rail that it runs along. They are fairly robust, but they are made from paper, so treat them carefully and they'll last you a lifetime. Down on the driver's door, you'll find the deadlock button, adjustments for the two front power windows, and to adjust the side mirrors, you have a joystick. Select the position of the mirror that you wish to adjust. First position to the right is the top mirror on the driver's door, and then you use the joystick to adjust the mirror to how you prefer to have it. The second position is for the lower blind spot mirror. Third position for the lower blind spot mirror on the passenger door, then the large mirror on the passenger door, then back to the 0 to off. Going back to its roots on this vehicle, there is a little added bonus on the dashboard that you can lift up that panel there, and by releasing the lever on the side, you release these two clamps into which you can place a tablet or a mobile phone if you're using them as a form of navigation. The only trouble is it slightly obscures the screen from your media unit, and your media unit in itself can mirror your phone, and you can then have, if you've paired your device, you can through Apple CarPlay or Android Play, you can then use your phone for navigation purposes. Also from the media unit you can set your clock, your date, which camera you're going to have, various settings from the vehicle. In days gone by you would set this on your dashboard, and nowadays of course it's all done through this unit here. Well, that concludes your tour of the Solaris XL from WildAx, your brand new motorhome. Thank you very much for choosing Highland Campervans. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact myself or any of my colleagues here at Highland Campervans if you have any questions about the operation of your vehicle. We're sure this vehicle will bring you lots of miles and lots of smiles. And once again, thank you very much, and we hope you have a great time making memories with WildAx and Highland Campervans.